Finally, it's cast in stone. Burkina Faso cancels all agreements that allow French boots on their soil and tells French soldiers to get out within a month, telling them that Russia's PMC Wagner is more than enough for them.
Let's understand two important concepts first. Burkina Faso is a landlocked country in West Africa with an area of 274,200 square kilometers, 105,900 square miles, bordered by Mali to the northwest, Niger to the northeast, Benin to the southeast, Togo and Ghana to the south, and the Ivory Coast to the southwest. It has a population of 20,321,378. Previously called the Republic of Upper Volta, 1958 to 1984, it was renamed Burkina Faso by President Thomas Sankara. Its citizens are known as Burkinabe, and its capital and largest city is Ouagadougou. The largest ethnic group in Burkina Faso is the Mossi people, who settled the area in the 11th and 13th centuries. They established powerful kingdoms such as Ouagadougou, Tenkadogo, and Utenga. In 1896, it was colonized by the French as part of French West Africa. In 1958, Upper Volta became a self-governing colony within the French community. In 1960, it gained full independence with Mauricio Miogo as president. Throughout the decades post-independence, the country was subject to instability, droughts, famines, and corruption. Various coups have also taken place in the country, in 1966, 1980, 1982, 1983, 1987, and twice in 2022, in January and September, as well as an attempt in 1989 and another in 2015. Burkina Faso has been severely affected by the rise of Islamist terrorism in the Sahel since the mid-2010s. Several militias, partly allied with the Islamic State, IS, or Al-Qaeda, operate in Burkina Faso and across the border in Mali and Niger. More than 1 million of the country's 21 million inhabitants are internally displaced persons. Burkina Faso's military seized power in a coup d'état on 23 to 24 January 2022, overthrowing President Roch-Marc Kaboré. On January 31, the military junta restored the constitution and appointed Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba as interim president. He was overthrown in a second coup on September 30 and replaced by military captain Ibrahim Traoré. Burkina Faso is one of the least developed countries, with a GDP of $16.226 billion. Approximately 63.8% of its population practices Islam, while 26.3% practices Christianity. The country's official language of government and business is French. There are 60 indigenous languages officially recognized by the Burkinabe government, with the most common language, Moor, spoken by over half the population. The country is governed as a semi-presidential republic with executive, legislative and judicial powers. Burkina Faso is a member of the United Nations, La Francophonie and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. It is currently suspended from ECOWAS and the African Union. The second concept is PMC Wagner. The Wagner Group, also known as PMC Wagner, is a Russian paramilitary organization. It is a private military company, PMC, a network of mercenaries, or a de facto private army from Russia. The group became global prominence during the war in Donbass in Ukraine, where it aided separatist forces of the self-declared Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics from 2014 to 2015. In addition, its contractors have reportedly participated in various global conflicts, including the civil wars in Syria, Libya, the Central African Republic, CR, and Mali, often fighting on the side of forces aligned with the Russian government.
Now back to the subject of this video. Burkina Faso cancelled all agreements that allowed French boots on their soil and told French soldiers to get out within a month. PMC Wagner has ended the reign of jihadist terror against Christians in the Central African Republic. Wagner also reportedly dealt a massive blow to these terrorists in Mali, leading to the French facing a similar fate there. Wagner seems to have the secret weapon against terrorism in Africa. 3 former French colonies ended their colonial relationship with France in exchange for a romantic affair with Russia. About 3 more African countries are also on the verge of going this way. It makes sense why the US will designate Wagner as an international terrorist organization and why France and Europe are running scared right now and intent on stopping Russia by all means. Burkina Faso's interim president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, told students that the battle for sovereignty had begun. In the next few hours, you will see the information concerning our relations with some countries. In a previous interview, Traoré stated that his government's goal is to recapture the territories occupied by these hordes of terrorists. He said they're expanding the alliance to destroy jihadists who have terrorized the country for so long under the watch of French soldiers, whom many allege are incubating and arming the terrorists. With 3 more French colonies inches away from going the way of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Central African Republic, in the next year or two, Russia may have replaced France as the new big brother to African countries that were once French colonies. And it doesn't end with only French colonies, as even British colonies are now beginning to look in Wagner's direction to help end the jihadist terror campaign on their nations. Bottom line, colonially enslaved African countries and indigenous communities now have a clear path to freedom through Russia, which is incredibly distressing for colonial Europe. Sadly, many who claim to love freedom so much are too blinded to see the broader implications of the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't sleep. Wake up. The West has always painted Russia as the villain in the minds of the peoples of the world, and they are the supposed heroes, whereas, in reality, it's the exact opposite. I'm glad everyone is now seeing how greedy the West is. Kudos to Russia,